I grew up with a mother that sewed our clothes and taught me how to sew. But she recently admitted to me that she didn't actually sew because she wanted to, she sewed because she had to. I'll admit that surprised me a little bit. Where did I get this desire to sew and create my own clothes? I don't know. Back when I was a child, sewing your own clothes typically meant that it was going to be cheaper, more cost-effective to do so. But now, with mass production and outsourced labor, that's not necessarily the case. You can get a lot of ready-to-wear right off the rack for less money than it would cost to sew your own. And for a while there, it was harder to find resources for garment construction. There was a lot of quilting and other craft supplies, but not so much for sewing clothes. And that's a damn shame. Fortunately, in the last decade or so, garment construction seems to be making a comeback, and that delights me. It's putting fun fabrics at our fingertips and even opening up more resources for getting other notions and stuff for making garments. So here are my top 10 reasons why you should sew your own clothes. Number 1, make clothes that fit you. This isn't terribly straightforward because even patterns are made on a standard body and will still need to be adjusted to fit you. But there's a lot of resources out there on the internet on how to make the most common adjustments needed. People are all unique, so this gives you an opportunity to make clothes that are not just fit to you, but also flatters your own body style. Granted, most patterns do need to be adjusted to fit, but with a ruler and some instructions, you can pretty much make all the changes you need. For example, did you know most women's tops are made to fit a B cup? Lots of us don't have a B cup. And even if we do, the bust point might not be in the same place on our body as it is on the pattern. But this is actually a relatively simple adjustment to make. And I've always hated shopping for pants because most of them don't fit me. And it's really frustrating to shop all day for pants and have 90% of them look actually bad on you. It's the pants, it's not you. But if you make your own clothes, you can add fullness to the belly, the butt, the thighs, the calves, and you can remove fullness where you need to as well. And some of these adjustments can even be fixed by a tailor after the fact. It's almost always easier to make the adjustments on the pattern before you sew the garment than it is to make the adjustments on the garment after it's sewn. Number 2, you can build your own style. This will take time, but if you already have your own style and you struggle to find ready-to-wear clothes to fit that style, you can make your own. Well-made, fitted, and embellished garments don't come cheap. And if you want something truly unique, you either have to pay a pretty penny for it or make it yourself. I like to make it myself. My style runs to the Gothic, Victorian, industrial side. And I don't even know what or where to shop for that style. Online, I suppose, but then I run into the fit problem, which is number 1. But I can make my own clothes and embellish them however I want. Number 3, spend less money on high quality. You know how the garment is constructed when you sew it yourself. You'll never again settle for crap quality or pay out the nose for super high quality. You can even make your own couture or couture-like clothes. I don't do this, but I do like the fact that I can make some pretty high quality clothes for me to wear. And with building your own style, you can embellish and design the clothes that you want to wear and build your wardrobe over time, and this will cost less in the long run than buying custom clothes. Number 4, increased utility. So if you can make clothes, you can mend clothes. Usually. I mean, sure, there's sometimes the clothes are just beyond repair. If you make your own clothes, you'll know when to recognize that the garment is ready to be repurposed. And then you can choose to either toss it or repurpose it. Also, you can do some adjustments to your own ready-to-wear garments that you pick up, should you choose to do so. I mean, at the very least, you can hem your own pants. Number 5, you can make your own costumes. Garment construction isn't relegated to everyday wear. The same principles for making clothes apply to making costumes. And that's regardless if it's cosplay costumes or dance costumes, or anything in between. So with sewing knowledge, you can construct your next Marvel villain or Netflix hero or whatever. Number 6, you can totally multitask. The easiest multitasking for me is listening to music and sewing at the same time. But you could also catch up on your audiobooks or your podcasts or maybe even shows or classes online that you only need to hear and don't actually need to watch. And if you're the kind of person that can have TV stuff on while not actually watching it, you can totally catch up on that too while you sew. I usually do audiobooks or podcasts and or music while I sew, and I usually only have to stop listening to my audiobook or podcast when I have to actually read the instructions. That's a minor disruption, so I can barrel through my virtual book pile and still get my sewing done. Number 7, sense of accomplishment or even pride. Admittedly, this is huge for me. I love the feeling I get when I make things. Fortunately for me, they don't even have to be good. They just have to be things I made. I prefer them to be good, but Just accomplishing something is accomplishing something. I mean, I've created something and I relish that feeling. But imagine getting a compliment on a piece of clothing that you made and you get to say, thanks, I made that. Number 8. Ethical sourcing. You get to choose where you buy your fabric from. You also know exactly who is sewing your garments. You know that the only child labor that went into your garment is your own children. And if you don't have kids, you're safe even from yourself. Unless, of course, you borrow a friend's kid to put them to work sewing your garments. I digress. But you can choose sustainable resources and fabric fibers that you want to use and still feel really good about your choices. Number 9, fashion without shopping at stores. I was writing this during the time of COVID lockdown, but it holds true even if you're not on lockdown. I'm naturally an introvert and I'm not a huge fan of spending hours at the malls or boutique stores or department stores. Just especially trying to find the perfect whatever. I hate trying on clothes over and over and over again and having like 1 out of 10 garments fit, or not having the color I want. Additionally, I grew up in Montana and there's not a lot of shopping options out there, and the style variety is lacking. In this day and age, you can find pretty much everything you want to buy for making your own clothes on the internet, and some fabric stores even send you swatches. And number 10, community. There's a vast community of sewists out there, from weekenders to professionals to folks who only do cosplay or LARP type stuff. And you can even join a community either online or in person. Think American Sewing Guild or patternreview.com. And I found that the majority of the people in these communities are really friendly and supportive. So that was 10 reasons, but let me give you another bonus reason. Bonus reason number 1, you can immerse yourself in a hobby. I get that many people can find sewing frustrating, but if you truly enjoy it, you can find it both relaxing and peaceful, and who doesn't need a little bit of peace? Okay, so it's less peaceful if you're sewing chiffon, and also if you're stabbing yourself with pins and cutting yourself with a rotary cutter. But usually you can avoid most of that. Bonus reason number 2 is that you can branch out and make other stuff. Sewing clothes might actually be a little bit more difficult than making housewares like curtains and pillows and tablecloths. However, you can branch out and sew accessories for your wardrobe like purses, gloves, belts. Or you can go way out and start making clothes for other people. So yeah, there's 12 reasons to sew your own clothes. And now I gotta go manipulate some fabric.